The one line about her saying that she basically questioning whether or not she deserves everything she has, and I'm like, that's maybe an iffy line.
Did you hear the news? Basketball star Caitlin Clark was just named Time's Athlete of the Year. But here's the real shocker. During her acceptance speech, she made waves by acknowledging her hard work while also addressing the role of white privilege in her journey. Now, the internet is buzzing, with everyone wondering if she overshadowed her own big moment.
You know, I'm starting to wonder if Caitlin Clark is doing this to try to fit in with her colleagues. I wonder if Caitlin Clark is doing this to make herself relatable to minimum wage earners in the WNBA.
Let's take a step back and dig into what led up to this moment. Caitlin Clark has been a beloved figure in Iowa since her college days. She wasn't just good, she was unstoppable. In her senior year, she averaged an incredible 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 8.6 assists per game, shattering records and redefining what's possible in basketball. Off the court, her charisma won her a huge following, and she carried that energy straight into the WNBA. Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete, she's a force to be reckoned with.
4 years building a fan base. She spent 4 years building a loyal following that played a critical role in propelling her into the superstardom that she has today.
Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA without missing a beat. In her rookie season, she averaged 20.5 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 6.2 assists per game. Stats that aren't just good for a rookie, they're all-star caliber. What really sets her apart is her insane shooting range, effortlessly stinking 30-footers like she's in an NBA three-point contest. Every time she crosses half-court, fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see if she'll pull off another jaw-dropping shot. Clark's game is changing the sport, inspiring coaches and players to embrace long-range shooting. She's not just playing basketball, she's reshaping it. And her connection with fans? That's just as remarkable. From college to the WNBA, her electrifying style, unmatched skill, and love for the game have made her a favorite at every level.
The way Caitlin Clark became a superstar, it is literally the old school method of building a star. It's how Michael Jordan did it. It's how rappers used to do it in the 90s and 2000s. First, you become a star at home, then you take over the mainstream.
You'd think Caitlin Clark would be universally celebrated, right? A young star bringing energy and new fans to the league. What's not to love? But it's not that simple. Her rapid rise hasn't sat well with everyone. Some WNBA players aren't too happy about the overwhelming attention she's getting, and there's a hint of jealousy in the air. It's the downside of success. Sometimes, the brighter you shine, the more tension you create in the shadows.
4 years at Iowa, Caitlin Clark was beloved. She had the support of friends and family. She had the support of the entire state. She comes into the WNBA, and it is completely different. She goes from being loved to being vilified. She goes from being the hometown hero to being public enemy number one. She was literally left off the Olympic team.
Here's the twist. Despite the jealousy and negativity, Caitlin Clark keeps lifting up her fellow WNBA players. She's incredibly selfless. In fact, her influence even led to teams traveling by plane for games, making life easier for everyone in the league. She consistently shows support, refusing to hog the spotlight, and instead shares it generously. What's even more remarkable? She extends kindness to players who criticize or even bully her behind the scenes. Clark's actions speak louder than any words, proving she's not just a great athlete, but a class act.
Throughout the entirety of the WNBA season, Caitlin Clark willingly shared her spotlight with anonymous players. She shared the spotlight with unknown players who were jealous of her. She shared the spotlight with players who were talking shit about her. She even shared the spotlight with former WNBA players who never wasted an opportunity to discredit or downplay the impact that Caitlin Clark was having on pretend basketball.
Just when you thought Caitlin Clark couldn't be more generous, she proved her character yet again. Even with ungrateful players benefiting from her efforts, she continued to share her spotlight. And then it happened. Clark was named Time's Athlete of the Year. A huge moment, right? But what she said next left everyone stunned. It was like striking a match in a room full of gasoline. Here's the jaw-dropper. During her speech, Clark brought up her white privilege in the WNBA. Yes, she actually said it.
Clark is cognizant of the racial underpinnings of her stardom. I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege.
Can you believe it? During her big moment, Caitlin Clark decided to address race, steering the conversation away from her incredible accomplishments. It almost felt like she lost sight of the fact that this was her time to be celebrated, not the time for a deep dive into social issues. But when you step back and look at the full picture, there's no denying she earned that award through her talent, hard work, and impact on the game.
Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year, and deservedly so. No one had a greater impact on sports in 2024 than Caitlin Clark. But during the interview, the inevitable topic of race was brought up, since, we can no longer talk about athletes without their race being involved.
So, why would Caitlin Clark say something like that? Good question. Let's break it down. Her comments weren't just about race, they were about finding her place in the league. Clark is the rookie getting all the attention, and she's likely trying to connect with her teammates and peers. By acknowledging her privilege, she might have been trying to show humility and self-awareness, hoping it would help her relate to others in the league.
The hell are you doing? This is your moment. Why are you giving your spotlight to someone else? If you're a superstar, you keep the spotlight on you at all times.
But here's where it gets tricky. Clark's effort to connect didn't go as planned. Some wnba players and commentators were left puzzled and disappointed. They were asking, why now? This moment was supposed to celebrate her incredible skills, not shift focus to race. Even some fans who admired Clark for her game felt alienated, wondering why she brought up such a sensitive topic when all they wanted was to cheer for her jaw-dropping plays.
You should have stopped at, I've earned every single thing. Caitlin Clark has earned her spot. She busted her ass her entire life to get where she is. Nothing was given to her.
Clark's remarks about white privilege created an immediate split among fans and players. Some applauded her for showing awareness and speaking out, while others thought she was overstepping or even disrespecting the league by bringing up an issue they feel isn't relevant. It was as if she unknowingly walked into a minefield, sparking a debate she might not have anticipated.
Was given to her. This is the part of the interview where I would have asked, tell me about your white privilege. If you've earned everything, how have you benefited from white privilege? Give me an example, just one example.
But there's more to this story than just Caitlin Clark. Her comments have touched on a larger, more complex issue of race in sports, especially in a league like the WNBA, where racial dynamics play a significant role. By speaking out, Clark unintentionally opened a can of worms, sparking a conversation that the league might not be fully prepared to tackle just yet.
The players in this league they've been really good and have been black players. The league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that and highlight that and continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made the league incredible, I think that's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, the more it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Clark's speech might feel like deja vu if you remember Paige Bueckers back in 2021. Bueckers, another basketball superstar, made headlines with her own comments about race and privilege. During the ESPN Awards, she used her platform to highlight the importance of recognizing and uplifting black women in sports. Clark's words echo a similar sentiment, drawing comparisons to that pivotal moment.
And it is her equivalent of the Paige Becker speech.
Here's the thing. Bueckers' speech didn't exactly go over smoothly either. She faced plenty of backlash, with critics questioning her motives and taking issue with her speaking on race as a white athlete. So, you might wonder, didn't Caitlin Clark learn from that? Well, it's not so simple. Both Clark and Bueckers were trying to use their platforms to uplift others, sharing the spotlight instead of keeping it all to themselves. It sounds great in theory, but in practice, it didn't land as they hoped. Instead of widespread praise, they faced criticism, with people accusing them of virtue signaling or trying too hard to be woke. It's almost like no matter what they do, they're caught in a no-win situation.
Wrong with what she said. She basically gave the Paige Becker speech. And in fairness, I don't understand why anyone would have an issue with that. The one line about her saying that she basically questioning whether or not she deserves everything she has, and I'm like, that's maybe an iffy.
Now, here's where it gets complicated. Is this really about race, or is it about star power? Some think Clark and Bueckers are trying to shift attention away from their own success, while others believe they're genuinely addressing important issues. It's like holding a live grenade. Every move feels risky. What's clear is that this controversy isn't going away anytime soon. It's sparking tough conversations about race, privilege, and what we expect from athletes in today's society. For Clark, this is bigger than basketball now. She's in a whole new game, and the stakes have never been higher. Meanwhile, Clark is bringing in fans like never before. She's filling arenas, boosting TV ratings, and lighting up social media with her highlight-worthy plays. Her deep three-pointers and jaw-dropping assists are turning casual viewers into die-hard fans overnight. It's like every time she steps on the court, the WNBA gains a whole new audience.
Look, this is going to be a really funny situation because, one, it's not going to change anything from people that are fans of Caitlin Clark. Because as much as what people want to say, people are fans of Caitlin Clark because she shoots from 30. Like, people don't realize that. Is that no matter what, Caitlin Clark shoots the ball from 30. She plays the game at a fast pace, and she is probably the most fun basketball player to watch right now.
Forget the controversy for a moment. Did you catch the latest on Caitlin Clark's stats? A recent basketball report just dropped some jaw-dropping info. Clark is the most watched WNBA player in asterisk every single state asterisk. That's right, asterisk every state asterisk. This isn't just impressive. It's a total game changer. You might be wondering, asterisk, what about all the drama around her speech asterisk? Here's the thing. Fans aren't tuning in for what she says off the court. They're glued to the screen because of what she does on it. And what she does is nothing short of incredible. From draining 30-footers that leave you in awe to playing at a breakneck pace that's impossible to ignore, Clark is putting on a show every single time she hits the court. It's not just basketball, it's a spectacle.